There's an old proverb that says the best time to stab someone is 20 years ago. The second best time is now. I think that's how that goes. Something about procrastination and the statute of limitations. Anyways, in my videos, we explore the evolution of different technologies through time. But in this one, I want to explore a single tool we've been using for pretty much all of time. The knife. Present before humans were humans, we've been making sharp objects to stab and chop since the Stone Age, and as we mastered every new metal. But while I've created and used tools of various materials from different ages, I've never really put them all up against each other side by side. So in this video, we're exploring 8 different materials that humans have made throughout history to make knives, and putting them to the test and seeing what kind of knife from what time period works best at stabbing. Whether I'm melting bronze, working glass, or building from scratch, proper protection is always important. Perhaps most important includes my feet. The sponsor of this video, Brunt, sent me a new pair of boots to keep me safe. And honestly, I'm impressed with how comfortable they were right out of the box. No break-in period, no sore feet after one day, just actual support and a footbed that feels like it was made for this kind of work. Brunt designs their boots with real workers in mind. These boots aren't just comfortable, they're built to last. The leather holds up in even tough, wet conditions. The outsoles are oil, heat, and slip resistant up to 572 degrees, which if you've seen what I work with, could come in handy. And here's the best part, Brunt lets you try them out on the job. If they don't work for you, send them back, no questions asked. Use my code to get $10 off your first pair today. Seriously, your feet will thank you. I tasked Theo to work on making each of these knives and try to get them as sharp as possible. Let's start first with the very first sharp tool technology, flint knapping, which is made by strategically breaking off pieces of flint until you're left with the right size and razor sharp edge. Closely linked to flint knapping is obsidian, which uses volcanic glass instead of flint, but overall is very similar in technique. Obsidian has the nice fact that technically it's one of the sharpest edges you can get, and sometimes it's even used in surgery because of that. However, it also tends to be very brittle, which causes some limitations. A later Stone Age technology that was developed was ground stones, which, as it sounds, is made by grinding a stone until it's sharp. It's a much slower process, but it can produce a result that is less brittle than flint or obsidian, although not as sharp. Now we can move on to the metals, starting first with the Chalcolithic period, which started around 6500 BC, which was a transitional period between the Stone Age and Bronze Age, when copper first learned to be used. Next was the Bronze Age, starting around 3500 BC, when humans first learned to alloy copper with other metals to produce a stronger metal, most often with tin. After bronze was the Iron Age, starting around 1200 BC. It requires an even higher temperature to smelt, but proved to be a versatile and more abundant material. but strength-wise, not necessarily a huge improvement over bronze. Over the centuries that followed, it was learned how to master alloying iron with different amounts of carbon. As history progressed, they were able to master the skill, allowing them to produce a high-carbon alloy called steel, which ended up being much stronger than iron.
With all the knives made now and sharpened as much as possible, it's time to measure their sharpness using a sharpness tester. It works by measuring the force in grams required to cut through a standardized medium, providing a quantifiable and comparable number for each of our knives. We did the test several times for each of the knives and took the best numbers. The lower the number, the sharper and better it cuts. The end result was definitely interesting, while somewhat expected. Very interesting to have these numbers actually quantified. All of the metals got progressively sharper and sharper with each evolution, with steel on top. The stone ones though definitely cover a large gamut, with flint outperforming bronze and copper, and obsidian even coming close to iron. With this kind of test, the more brittle materials like obsidian suffer some, because while they might technically be even sharper than the test shows, the edge is too brittle for it to register. The quality of a knife is not just its initial sharpness, but also how well it can hold that sharpness after some use. So let's put each of these knives through a gambit of tests, seeing how well they can cut a variety of materials, and then we'll test their sharpness again.
I was expecting this to not work very well in comparison. They work really similar amounts because you have a wider bevel on the ground stone, which allows it to kind of crush the wood into place. And then you can cut with the copper, but it's so much softer. I can get this sharp enough to shave with. I don't know how many hairs it can cut before it gets as sharp as this is. You can see the damages. They're equivalent. This is the stone, this is the copper. This one's deeper, and obviously this one's wider and kind of crushing. That's very interesting. They did about the same damage for the 5 hits, but the difference on the blades is strange. The flint and the obsidian, the blades on them are serrated. They're not really meant to hack through. That's what you would have like a flint hand axe. But the thing is if we were to try and put a thinner edge on there, like if we were to try and hit this with a flake, it would just explode. It is damaged up towards the tip, but it's a lot less. No problem. It's a little harder to see with the iron, but I can feel there's some edge rolling, some minor dents that are right there. Honestly, probably pretty equivalent to the bronze. All of these knives, apart from flint-knapped edges, are all ground at a 20-degree angle. In theory, they should all start with the same level of sharpness. And so it'll be interesting to see how they compare in the spots where they were hit and how that compares to pre-damage testing.
Then, with a new round of testing, we got some very interesting results. Here we can see some of the advantages of early stone tools. Pretty much all of them retained an edge better than the early metal ones did. But as technology advanced into the iron and steel ages, edge retention became massively improved. Clear advantage for the later iron ages. Overall, I think these tests show some big disadvantages for early copper and bronze tools. In some ways, stone tools might be better for some jobs until you reach the Iron Age.
Now that we finished up all the testing, had some outcomes that I was definitely surprised by. Just going through each of the different materials. Flint, I mean, there's a reason why we used it for as long as we did. It was relatively durable, very sharp. The misshapen, jagged shape of the dagger takes a little bit away from the thrusting power, but it was still able to make it through the leather. The obsidian sank through the meat very, very easily, and it still did make it through the leather, just not as much, and it's really for the same reasons that the flint has. Now the ground stone knife kind of surprised me. Every time we were testing this, I always would mention, oh, this is definitely the time when it's going to break, and it actually never broke. It was able to go into the meat fine, but it couldn't make it through the leather. So I think that tells us why the cultures that we know used ground stone knives generally used knife designs that didn't have tips on them, like ulu knives. Copper, the first metal that we tested here, didn't have a problem, sank through both of them. This kind of has been one of my theories for a while, that the metal you use doesn't matter in terms of the first hit. It's all about the ability to maintain that strength and that edge on it. Bronze blew through both of them fairly easily. Iron sank all the way down and actually hit the cutting board with every test. And then steel is really just the final evolution of that iron that we're using. It has the same kind of basic effect. It goes all the way through no matter what, but it's gonna remain sharper a lot longer than the iron one is. My least favorite is going to be the ground stone. I really want to love this. It's not that hard to make, and it did perform almost as well as the copper did in the cutting test, but in terms of stabbing, this is pretty much a 0. My favorite for stabbing is definitely going to be the obsidian. There's just something very primal about the big stone tooth that I made that just kind of rips into whatever you want it to. My opinion, the best time to stab somebody would be early Iron Age, late Bronze Age, because the technology for things like, armor, not super all there, but you're able to get very good performing weapons out of it. Thank you for watching, and thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and check out other content we have covering a wide variety of topics. Also, if you've enjoyed these series, consider supporting us on Patreon. We are largely a fan-funded channel and depend on the support of our viewers in order to keep our series going. Thanks for watching.